Good morning. We're going to call to order the January 9th, 2012 TDC meeting, and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and may we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Larry Pfeiffer.
Here.
Renee Portis.
Here.
Kevin Ruane.
Here.
Pamela Conan. Tony Labby. Colleen DePasquale.
Here.
Robert Wells.
Here.
Joseph Mergalo.
Here.
Fran Myers, Forrest Banks, and Jeff Webb are excused.
Okay, thank you. And do we have a quorum?
Yes.
We do. Okay, good, for the record. And first of all, I'd like to accept a motion for the approval of December 13th TDC minutes.
Moved. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We have any objections? Motion passes. We're going to begin with the public. If there's anybody from the public that would like to address the board. Yes, sir. And please state your name for the record.
Sure. Good morning. It's working. I'm Bruce Sterling, resident of Gasparilla Island and past president of the Barrier Island Parks Society, which is the citizen support organization for Gasparilla Island State Park at the southern end of Gasparilla Island. Completely and properly anchoring the Belcher Road seawall on Gasparilla Island now is extremely important to the state park's property and to all of Lee County. I heartily encourage you to approve the recommendation of the Coastal Resource Council regarding emergency funding for the immediate repair of the Belcher Road seawall. That recommendation and the state park's funding request addresses the critical condition of the seawall and the clear and present problems with the seawall located on state park property. The seawall has been in serious shape for some time and was eroded to its present critical state by Tropical Storm Debbie in 2012. Importantly, a collapse of this seawall could have immediate serious implications for the Gasparilla Island State Park's property. The property includes the very popular beaches, the Port Boca Grande Lighthouse and Museum, and the state park's ranger facilities, including 2 restaurants partially funded by the Tourist Development Council, one less than a year ago. This is the same iconic Boca Grande Lighthouse that is on the face page of the Lee County Visitors and Convention Bureau website. A recent study by the state parks underscores the Gasparilla Island total direct impact for 2012 and 13 of over $35 million, almost all of which is tourism-related dollars. You can clearly understand what's at stake. The state has helped somewhat by funding approximately $250,000 by capping part of the seawall. That step is underway. The remaining necessary step is firmly anchoring the seawall with riprap, armor stone on the seaward side of the seawall. Lee County funded 2013 beach replenishment project at Belcher Road would have provided limited protection for the seawall, but due to unfortunate circumstances, the Lee County funded renourishment in front of the seawall did not occur. So there was a solid plan in place, but the beach replenishment permits were not obtained in time, principally due to the federal government shutdown. Hence, the emergency need to anchor the seawall now. And for want of finishing the seawall work now, all the investment already made by the state parks and the TDC would be figuratively hanging by a thread. Again, we urgently request your approval of this emergency funding request so that work can be completed before the 2014 hurricane season. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And good job going through that phone call, too.
Sorry about that.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Anybody from the public? Yes, ma'am, please. And state your name for the record.
Hi, Chris Pendleton, Edison Ford, Winter Estates. Hello and Happy New Year. And we bring news and thanks to you for helping us to make it to the USA Today list of top holiday events in the country. We were up 8% in nighttime and 8% during the day, and our VCB was a big part of that success. So thank you very much, everyone who worked on that, because there were so many groups in Lee County that did that for us. We're headed into an opening in February with a new neighbor, the marina at Edison Ford, which will give us an adjacent restaurant, cruise service, and event area. So we're very excited about that, and we will be bringing that forward to you in dates as it gets closer. Tamara visited last week, as has other staff and commission members. So thank you for that. And I wanted to take a minute to introduce Ashley Gibbons to you, who is our new Director of Marketing and Events at Edison Ford. This is mainly for Tamara. She's an FSU graduate and was part-time with us as a volunteered first, then an intern, and about to go full-time. So we're delighted to have Ashley with us. Thank you very much for the work you do, and we're proud to be part of tourism here.
Absolutely.
So Ashley's got newsletters she's going to give you, and then she's going to dash out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else that would like to address the board from the public? And I see no hands, so we're going to close public comment. And next, other than our mayor here, is there any other municipalities that would like to address the board? Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. Michelle Dean with the City of Cape Coral, and just wanted to tell you about a couple of great events we have going on, large events in the month of February. Coming up this weekend, if you haven't heard, 29th Annual Festival of the Arts, Cape Coral Festival of the Arts, attracts typically over 100,000 people, and with great weather on tap, it looks like we should have a great weekend for that. It's 10 to 5 both days, over 300 artists. All of Cape Coral Parkway, or at least between Del Prado and Vincennes, will be closed down for the fair. And there will also be kids areas, rock climbing wall, a whole bunch of stuff for the whole family. So it should be a great event. And then next weekend, we have the 23rd Annual Tour de Cape coming up. And that event's going to be hosted by Cape Harbor Resort. Again, Friday is a packet pickup and pre-celebration. Saturday is a 5K run and kids family mini tour. And then Sunday is the bike tours, where you can ride 15, 30, 60, or 100 miles throughout Cape Coral, and we're expecting about 2,000 participants and spectators who come as far as Maine, Massachusetts, Wisconsin for this event every year. And this year we've offered packages with local hoteliers, including the Westin, Hampton, and Holiday Inn Express, to encourage overnight stays. So we're real excited about those events and hope you'll check them out.
Thank you. I think Andrea wants to sign up for 100 miles. I guess that was a no. Is there anyone, another municipality that would like to address the board? Okay. And with that, if it pleases the board, I'd like to change the order of events here. And at this time, I'd like to invite Mayor Henderson to the podium and allow him. Thank you very much for being here, Mayor. And I guess Mr. Banks couldn't make it today, so we certainly think that it's great that you were here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and indeed I am here to pinch hit on this particular item for Councilman Banks, my colleague on the council. And Mr. Chairman and board members, I'm very appreciative of the opportunity to take just a few minutes. I'll be brief. But this is a time, I don't come before this board, the VCB, very often, and when I do, I like to take a few moments to express appreciation to you, the work that you do, also to announce to you the good things that are going on in the city of Fort Myers, indeed across the region that our city influences. And Chris, I would be remiss if I didn't say how much I enjoyed taking family members through the estates over the holiday seasons. It was spectacular. It was beautiful. We celebrate it all the time, as we do Langford Kingston home and Burroughs home, and we love the season that highlights our city in the ways that remind you of Dickens' village back in our literary days when we learned about such matters. I remember early on in my political life, back starting in 2000, we used to have a vision and a dream of saying, if we could get the city of Fort Myers and beyond to have the feeling of Disney-like quality, that would be a worthy goal, and I think we've achieved some of that, and we continue to do so. That segues nicely into my next brief remarks and why I wanted to be here this morning to introduce to you a familiar person who really needs no introduction, Sharon McAllister, who I met in 2000 when I first got into office. And I remember Sharon coming to me to introduce herself, and we were excited together to be embarking in the political world together at the same time. And she said, my husband and I have relocated to the core of the city in downtown, and we have a vision of promoting arts and culture for the city of Fort Myers. And I said, great. We share that common vision, as does the council. I remember then Mayor Humphrey having a very specific emphasis on developing and expanding arts and culture in the city of Fort Myers in ways that he was inspired by attending the U.S. Conference of Mayors in Indianapolis, which had done a good job at that time and still continues to do a good job. So we try to model our city after other successful cities in that way. Sharon has been the lightning rod behind Art Fest and has been immensely successful. I have been her advocate, as well as I've been Chris's advocate, and advocate for all of such quality of project that bring a higher quality of life to the city of Fort Myers. And it is such a delight to be here and to introduce Sharon to you. She has poured herself into this effort. The results are evident. There's tangible evidence of the positive impact it's had on the city of Fort Myers, and she continues to drive it like the lightning rod in the middle of the storm. And it is producing results. I know that you respect her. Your help with this effort helps us to multiply what I'll call the return on the investment, the return on the effort to drive economy, to drive a high quality of life for visitors and citizens alike who already reside here and who partake substantially in the events of Art Fest year in and year out. Thank you very much, and please, Mr. Chairman, if I could introduce Sharon McAllister at this time to come forward and give you a report, and I'm going to exit to other meetings, but I count it an honor and a privilege to be here with you, and I thank you for helping Fort Myers to achieve these worthy goals. And with that, I'll ask Sharon to come forward. Thank you, sir.
Good morning. Mayor Henderson and I have enjoyed a long relationship since he's been a councilman. And I would be remiss not to start by thanking the city for their support. They are an enormous supporter of the Art Festival, both financially and just through who they are and what they can get done in their public works department and things like that. So as Mayor Henderson said, I'm the executive director of Art Fest Fort Myers. It is arguably Southwest Florida's largest weekend event. It is the premier art festival in this part of the state. It is the only nighttime art festival in South Florida. There is one other festival open at night, and that is in Maitland, Florida. And if you've not been to an art festival at night, it's a totally different experience than it is during the day because everybody's all lit up. We have about 85,000 attendees. We drive about 400 room nights directly. We do a lot of things with the hotels. I put at your places, this is the overrun print out of Travel Host magazine. This is the actual magazine that's in about 110 hotels from Punta Gorda to Marco Island. And we are the center 24 pages. It's out now, all of you who have it in your hotels. This is the overrun version. I put it there just because it gives the story of Art Fest in one spot. It talks about the Art Festival in the first 10 pages or 12 pages, and then it talks about the River District overall and promotion of the Fort Myers River District and all the arts organizations, or many of the arts organizations in that section, since this is a three-month publication. Just as a reminder, we are always the first weekend in February, so this year we will be February 1st and 2nd, and the lovely advertising tag that our opening night is January 31st. So that night we will open about a third of the show around the waterfront downtown. We are 14 years old this year. We attract 200 artists. However, there are about 900 who apply for the show. and we accept 200. That puts us in a very small club nationally of art festivals who are able to reject so many artists. And the advantage to that is it makes a very high-quality show. And we really, that puts us in the world, if you were familiar with the rest of the country, the Cherry Creek Art Festival in Denver, which I believe is the finest art festival in the country, Sausalito in California, Coconut Grove in Miami. We all can reject that many, which is a great thing for quality. If you've not been to the art festival, one of the things we talk about it is that it is a true festival. It is not just the white tents of the artists. We have a large high school show, the largest high school show in South Florida with $7,000 in awards. This year there are 450 students in that show that takes place on our site. We have a large high school chalk painting area. We have lots of food and music. We host 6 to 8 art organizations on our site for free. Florida Rep, the Alliance, both symphonies to promote their programs. We were selected by the Florida Festival Events Association this year to host a behind-the-scenes tour for executive directors from around the state. We're doing that behind-the-scenes tour. We're very complimented to do that. The last one they did was at, of this scale, was at Sunfest 2 years ago. We're hosting a behind-the-scenes for Florida Gulf Coast University students that are in the event programming, and we're hosting a behind-the-scenes tour for sponsors who want to see what else goes on to produce the art festival. What I wanted to say about this as well is we won an award from the International Festival and Events Association for this publication as an effective marketing tool. That organization is in fact international, and we're very honored to win that. We won 4 other awards this year from them. We applied for 5. We won the gold level award in all 5. So we're pretty impressed. One other item, those of you who are on LinkedIn or Facebook, we would love it if you would please like us, share us, comment, recommend, all those activities you could do there on those 2 places. Our hashtag is hashtag ArtFestFM. We would love to see you on our places. Tamara wanted me to talk just a little bit about what it takes to produce an art festival of this magnitude. So we have a full-time paid staff of 3, full-time year-round. We have 2 festival interns from FGCU. They are also paid from the Resort and Hospitality School. We have 40 volunteer steering committee members who run different aspects of the event. We have 400 volunteers on the weekend. We have 12 corporate sponsors, 8 media partners that put out about $150,000 worth of advertising in a 3-week period, all of which certainly enhances visitor experience here as well as our year-round residents. And we do a lot of activity in the community ourselves. I'm currently the president of the Conference and Convention Council at Harborside. I'm the past president of the Public Art Committee for the City of Fort Myers, and we're very active in the Attractions Association, FGCU, schools, and all those sorts of things. And this year we are hosting Seahorse Dreams, which is a fundraiser for the Children's Hospital. The seahorses will all be on parade at the Art Festival, about 20 of them. I put on your tables as well a white envelope. In that are your VIP tickets. We hope you'll join us on Friday night and over the weekend. They have tickets and they have parking passes, so that you have reserved parking right next to the art show. And we will be 15 years old next year, so there are a lot of great exciting things planned for 2015, which you'll hear about later. And thank you all for the TDC's support. We receive a very nice marketing grant from the TDC that helps us do a lot of the programming that we do. So we hope you'll come enjoy the Art Festival in about 3 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. Sharon, thank you very much. And it's kind of a renewed, continued look at local businesses and local events that the TDC has established recently, and we thank you very much for your efforts. We really do. We're going to get back on the agenda again, and I'm going to turn it over to Tamara.
So I'm a little raspy this morning. I might have lost my voice on Monday night. I just got in about, I think I hit my house in my bed about 1 a.m. this morning. So it was a fun time in California. I'm very proud to say Florida State performed exceptionally well at the very end of the game, which is when it really counts. And proudly, as an alumni, a 2-time graduate of Florida State, a member of the alumni board, and a member of the President's Club. Very happy to say that they won the game. So forgive me for being boastful this morning, and forgive my raspy voice. It was pretty squeaky yesterday.
3-minute limit on bragging.
Yeah, I'm done bragging. Well, I'm going to brag some more, actually. To present to you the November bed tax report, a 15.1% increase over November of 2012. That's a fantastic increase. Very pleased to see that, and you will see as we look at the year-over-year increase, given that that's just 2 months, still double-digit increase for the year to date. Looking at the STAR report for the month of November, occupancy, 8.6% increase, ADR 2.2, RevPAR up 10.9, 11% increase in room revenue. We're finally seeing that available room night no longer negative. We're at the point now a 0.1% increase, and I think that's just how many units are available in that given month. I don't think we've had any new product, though I know we've got some new product under development. Down at Gulf Coast Town Center. And then rooms sold up 8.6%. You see the numbers for the year. Year to date, all in the positive except for that available room night number. Airport traffic was down slightly in November, a decrease of 3%, 639,047 through the airport, employments and deplayments. And next slide, please. Looking at the key indicators for the month of November, site visits up 8%, leads up 71%, and referrals up 27%. So a good month there as well. So with that, I am going to go to Pamela Johnson with the sales report. I was very worried that I wasn't going to make it, and because my flights were through Minneapolis, but I had a connection through Minneapolis last night. So Pamela was going to take over a TDC meeting today if I didn't make it. But I sent Pamela a text when I was getting on the plane in Minneapolis and says, "Looks like you're off the hook." So she was pleased too.
So happy to see you today. Well, good morning, everyone. Happy New Year, and again, congrats, Tam. We haven't seen each other since the holidays, so we've been exchanging some texts, but really happy for you. I have the first quarter of the new fiscal year report for sales, and we'll just go over briefly some information. For October through December, we are on pace in terms of our leads, same pace as last year, this time last year. We handled 24 leads. The average group size was 134 attendees. As you can see, most of the types of groups were national associations, and that's no surprise. We tend to be very heavily association focused in this area, and secondly is corporate. As you can see, also groups looking to book in the 2015 through 2017 area, so that's good news. We still get a lot of last-minute, short-term requests, but looks like it's getting that 3-year window is looking pretty good. Our lead conversion ratio for Q1 was about 53%. 11 of the meetings went definite. And you can see there it's representing about 1,600 room nights. When we look at why we lost business this quarter, again, it continues to be a board group preference, and price does play into that board group preference. However, we lost business. Wasn't really anything consistent. It was every destination from Naples to Punta Cana, Scottsdale, Arizona. The transportation of that 14%, that's not related to air service. That was a group that decided to meet in San Diego because the hotel they selected was downtown, and the hotel is on a trolley line, so that, of course, accessibility in the city for attendees not to have to drive their cars is a very big thing when it comes to meetings. I'm just sharing some meeting trends with you that we're seeing, and also this is from HSMAI. They convened about 14 hotel sales folks in December and just talked about the outlook for this year. And, you know, no surprise, not really any surprises here. The dramatic growth in leisure travel, we all know right now leisure is king. And the proliferation of the international market has just been superb, and that's making a big impact on hotel sales. Also, the proliferation of the third parties. There are more and more third parties. I'm sure you know this, Joe. Not only the conference directs and the Helms-Briscoe, but more and more third parties we're seeing, and those folks require commissions. So just a few trends I wanted you to be aware of that we're seeing. In December, our representative from Washington, D.C., Betsy Bush, was here with some meeting planners. It was a small group, but I'd like to thank the Offshore Sailing School. They took the time to take Betsy and the planners out to do their corporate sail challenge to give them an idea of what that is, and how they incorporate that into to groups. So that was very good. None of these folks had, one person had been here a while ago, but it was really a first time for most of them, and they really enjoyed the destination. In December, we hosted our international tour operator receptive luncheons. Most of the receptives are based in Orlando and Miami. And I always tell hotel people, if they're really looking to get into the international market, you really don't have to make the investment of a powwow or huddle or ITB. You can get in your car and go up the road to Orlando or across to Miami, because that's where the receptives are located. And they are booking a lot of the international business. So we always host an annual appreciation luncheon to them with our partners, with our hotel partners, to say thank you for your business. So we hosted in Orlando this year. Also, on the international market, I just wanted to put some information up on the German-speaking countries. Of course, Germany continues to be extremely popular for this destination. We're really happy about that. But just some information on Switzerland, which those numbers seem to be coming up for our destination. I also brought with me today, and I'll pass around to you, a magazine. Now, you won't be able to read this magazine because it's in Swedish. However, you will be able to see our ad, which is in English. And we were told you'll see several ads from destinations that are English. Obviously, you know, Europeans are typically multilingual, and they said that submitting the ad in English would be fine. But we're continuing to see the Scandinavian countries, those markets, really add up for our destination. All right. We also hosted a few international FAMs over the quarter, one from the Netherlands, TUI Netherlands. And I'd like to thank the Pink Shell for hosting that group, as well as FTI in Austria. And I'd like to thank the Outrigger Beach Resort for hosting that group. Most are, again, new folks to the destination, had never been here before. We always try to give them lots of unique experiences. We do the Captiva cruises. I'd like to thank Cabbage Key and Rob for always being so willing to host our groups. It is a really unique experience when they come here, and that's one that they typically tend to talk about. So for this quarter, here's where we're going to be. I don't think a lot of the international destinations are up there. We've got a lot of things going on in Switzerland, in Austria, as well as in the Scandinavian countries. Next week I'm headed to Palm Beach. We have a lot of tour operators in town in Palm Beach who will be coming over here doing post FAMs. It's called Florida Huddle. It's organized by Visit Florida, and it's basically Florida specific, where you get a lot of the tour operators to come in and have one-on-one appointments, talk about hotel contracting, that sort of thing. So I'll be delighted to be over there next week with our new international sales manager. As many of you know, Eric left us in August, and hopefully we'll be able to introduce you face to face, but we have someone who started today. Her name is Stephanie Zinke, and Stephanie is, her native language is German, and she comes to us from New Zealand, and she spent a lot of her years in Barcelona, Spain, and she speaks Spanish because her husband is Argentinian. So I think she's pretty well qualified to be an international sales manager for us. So we're looking forward to welcoming Stephanie, and I'll take any questions if you have them.
And let's add that she also attended Bishop Varel High School, so she has some local knowledge. So it was a very nice combination of many languages, a lot of international sales experience, and some true local knowledge. So we're really excited to welcome Stephanie aboard. I think you'll find her a ball of fire.
Indeed. Any questions for me?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
With that, I'd like to invite Judy up to give the Visitor Services report.
Hello, everybody. Happy New Year to you. You have a copy of my report in your files, but so I would like to just give you a very short, brief overview of what we've been doing in the last quarter for you out in the Visitor Services Department. You'll note that we've had in the last quarter a little over 75,000 visitors that we work directly with. Year to date, that's calendar year, we have over 343,000 visitors that we directly impacted through our 5 visitor information booths and through other venues that we do outreach for with visitor assistance. That actually equates to also about 56,000 travel guides. So that's the Lonely Planet travel guide that we directly disseminated to visitors who specifically wanted certain bits of information that only the travel guide is perfect for. So we were happy about that. And through our state of Florida welcome centers, we distributed over 20,000, almost 21,000 consumer rack brochures, we call them. And I think Laura showed you last month the new rack brochure. This is a really cute interactive one that's going to be sent up this week to the state of Florida visitor centers, and there's 5 of them throughout the state, which will be really, really nice. You see also that we have actually participated this calendar year in about 79 different conferences or meetings or different types of special projects that we work with. That's about 457 total volunteers that work to support them. Below the report, you'll also notice that we have the calendar year statistics that I know Renee especially likes to look at because there's a lot of information about the breakdown of the different months and how we work with different people. The top information requests for the last quarter, the attractions always, the top one is always beaches, but right behind it, Chris will be happy to know, is the Edison and Ford Winter Estates. Lots and lots and lots of people ask about that all the time. Our top hotel for the last quarter is the Pink Shell Beach Resort and Marina. Of course, we talk about all the hotels, but that's the one that people keep asking about specifically in the last quarter. So something's going on over there with Ellis, and that's a good thing. And, of course, the biggest activity people specifically ask for, what kind of shopping can be done in the area, so we answer a lot of questions about that. As Pamela alluded to, you'll see also in our report in front of you that from the international perspective, the countries where we do the most interaction with our visitors, Germany, Canada, UK, and Switzerland, and Austria. Switzerland is very big. So we do have one volunteer on staff that speaks Swedish and Danish. So it's kind of nice to know we have somebody we can call if that became necessary. Yesterday we had a volunteer able to help a French native who wanted specific information about Fort Myers Beach, so that worked out really well for us. And domestically, New York, Massachusetts, Illinois, Ohio, and Pennsylvania were the top 3 domestic states that people were talking to us about. Below that, you'll also see our product education and special projects list, and there's a long list of that, also different things that we did, but the top ones were probably our interaction with Roy Hobbs. That's a great project that we love working with Allison on. It's a terrific program, and we're happy. We worked with Nancy on the SSL conference. We worked with Carol, I know she's here somewhere, and there she is, and we helped with the United Airlines Denver inaugural flight, as well as a list of other things. We're very supportive and helpful to the community. And then, of course, Guest First, which is just taking off like crazy. Christine is doing a great job, and this year I can tell you, or this quarter, I can tell you that she has trained over 432 attendees, and of those, 11 are CGSP graduates, We had 27 different sessions, 9 host sites. The girl's busy, I'll tell you. She's really doing some great outreach out there, and all of you who have not participated, please see Christine. She's always right over there, so you can grab her. I know that she'll do a great job for your location and your business. She's been talking to the Florida Restaurant Association, as well as, of course, doing presentations about Guests First to FGCU's hospitality class. And she's also been talking to Kaiser University about doing some things with them. So you just never know, so just stay tuned in that area. And then for our community and industry relations outreach, lots of things we're doing, just like all the departments with the VCB. But one thing, not to tout Christine again, but I just want to praise her. She is on the board of the ASTD, and this year is their 2014 president. So we're happy about that, very happy, because she's doing great things in that area. So we're very pleased at that development. And let's see, we're meeting with some folks about the Visitor Assistance Program. You'll hear more about that as time goes on. We're doing a little bit more outreach in that area through county public safety and some other areas. And then I wanted to mention, coming up, as you know, we've got 3 big events happening. We, of course, have the Chrysalis Awards coming up, as well as the Travel Rally, and then the E-Awards later this year. Lots of things happening, lots going on, so you'll get to hear more probably at the next report that we give you. And then last but not least, I wanted to give you a very, very quick, fast photo overview of just some of the fun that we're having, so you could see just what those volunteers are up to, as well as Christine. Thanks.
In your packet also is a copy of the article. I don't know if you saw the News Press article about the tourism education program, but it was in the News Press. I guess it's been about a week ago. Time's starting to all run together, but about a week ago. Great job on that, Christine. And, you know, we're really excited about that program and how that program can help us continue to grow to new heights, believing firmly that you know, customer service training is really what makes a difference in this destination. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks, Pamela and Judy. Next, I'd like to invite Jeff Melke up. He's the Executive Director for Sports Development. That's what we're calling it now, right?
Good morning. For the record, Jeff Melke, the Lee County Sports Development Office. Got a fairly lengthy report for you today. We tried to go through our monthly activity reports fairly quickly, and then we've got a special recognition that we're going to do. So we're going to start off with the month of July in 2013. Second best July we've ever had, and I'll put that in context in a moment, but 26,000 hotel room nights generated through sports tourism. That had a direct economic impact, which is the visitors' direct spending dollars of $11.6 million. Just want to point out that if you look through those list of events, you'll see a lot of perfect game, you'll see a lot of baseball, how important amateur baseball tournaments are to our community. Of the 26,000 hotel room nights that were generated, 22,000 of those were from those amateur baseball tournaments. So you can see how we continue to keep these facilities filled. JetBlue Park, Hammond Stadium, Terry Park. We're stretching up into Charlotte County and using their sports complex, and we're stretching down into Collier County and using their complexes for the smaller age kids. So baseball continues to be the lifeblood of our amateur tourism in the summertime. If you flip to August, August is starting to pick up a little bit. It used to be in years past you'd see 1 or 2 events for maybe 1,000 room nights. Perfect Game had something, a little bit to do with that, certainly. That's a new event they've brought to our area. Let's see, September, you go in, you've got some more Perfect Game events. The Captiva Triathlon is really taking off. It's become a very successful event for that time of year. And then you go to October, which was one of the best Octobers we've ever had, largely because this Perfect Game World Wood Bat has grown so large that that's the one that really bled over into 3 counties. It truly was a Southwest Florida regional baseball tournament. 220 teams, I believe. Is that right, Jesse? 220 teams from all over the United States filled our town for that 4 days in October. So to be able to generate 8,000 room nights off of a 4-day tournament kind of tells you the enormity of that event. And then in November, the Roy Hobbs World Series was the largest it's ever been. It was over 220 teams the first time ever. The Senior Softball Winter Nationals continues to be a very stable event for us. And for the first time ever, Lee County hosted a full-length marathon, Fort Myers Beach Marathon, and of the 1,200 runners, approximately 400 of them were from out of town who bought a one-night hotel stay. Most of them were on Fort Myers Beach. So we hope that event comes back. We're busy planning it right now, and I think you'll see that as a annual event in our community for a long time. And then finally, you get to our year in review, and I tried to get all of our December numbers in. We typically present to you our calendar year review in February, so I wasn't able to get all of our December numbers in, so I'll present that later. But through 11 months, we have some pretty exciting numbers to report, and they're all historical numbers. In total room nights sold, we're at 129,000 room nights still with a month to go, and our best ever was last year at 124,000 room nights. We've generated $23.5 million of direct visitor spending for this area. Again, that's $53 million of visitors' dollars that are left in our community that wouldn't have been spent here and left here otherwise if not for these amateur sports events. And 96 events through November is certainly a record. We're going to hit 100 events hosted in our community for the first time ever. And then the total sports visitors to Lee County at 122,000 people. That's participants, that's spectators, mostly moms and dads. As you all know, we host mostly participation-driven sports events. They're not tours, or they're not spectator-type events. Spring training's not included in this number. So these are amateur sports tournaments that are coming to Lee County because of the facilities we have, because of the great weather, the great beaches that we have to offer, and the vacation destination that's open to them. So with this historic year, also we had some real challenges, and the main challenge was the weather. And at my last time I was up here, which was probably back in August, we talked about how we had historical rainfall in the summertime, and yet we still hosted the most baseball tournaments, the most outdoor sports that we ever had in our history. And the reason it went so flawlessly is for a small group of people. So I'm gonna call some people up to stand for a moment. I just wanted you guys to have the opportunity to see the faces behind who really is out there doing so much of this hard work and really generating so much positive imagery and customer service for our community. And they are the Lee County Parks and Recreation athletic coordinators, and they are led by Mac Young. He's their manager. Chris Williams is here. Jesse Lavender is here. Zoran Viskovich. I just call him Big Z, and you'll know why when he walks up here. Stand right here. If you could get me a chair, I could be maybe as tall as him. And not with us today is Ludi Adorno. She's part of this amazing team. But she's watching. Hi, Ludi. This is an amazing group of people, and all of them are here to serve the hospitality industry, the tourism industry of Lee County. When the Lee County Sports Development Office, we go out and we find events, and now we're finding these 100 events a year, and we gather them up and we sit down with our entire community of planners, and it includes the City of Cape Coral, Parks and Recreation teams. It includes people from FGCU, youth sports clubs. Our network is a huge group of people. Allison Gruber is here from the Sports Organizing Committee. We sit down once a month and we talk about how to make these events so successful that they can't do anything but come back. And it's about offering the very best customer service, better than any other sports destination can offer. And so then we turn it over to this group of people, and they manage these events. They fill water coolers. They help our grounds crew pull tarps. They do scheduling. They deal with angry parents and coaches when the rainy season comes. And for them not to get overtime, they work this summer on the average, I think, of 70 hours a week for about 3 months straight. Again, not seeing their families. Every one of them's got little ones at home, so they're missing time with their kids, and it's just an amazing it's an amazing example of what Lee County workers really are. You know, Mr. Desjardins talks about earning trust in our community and trying to make sure that the citizens understand what Lee County workers are all about. I'd love for citizens of Lee County to follow this group of people around for a day and see what they do and see how hard they work, and that they don't stop until the job's done. Every one of them has taken Christine's Guest First program, so they've all been trained. They spread that customer service mentality down into all other ranks of Parks and Recreation that they touch. So please join me for just a moment and say thank you to this group for their amazing efforts and hard work for Lee County. I'm incredibly proud to call them my coworkers. So thank you all, and I'm going to walk out with you. I've got a little token of our appreciation. So thank you, guys. With that, we have, obviously you all know that spring training's coming up. Doug Muir reported yesterday at our staff meeting that for the first time ever, yes, sir.
Hey, guys, thank you very much for coming today, and we're all proud of you. I can tell you that, and if I might correct you, you said you should spend a day and see what these guys did. I took 2 days, and I didn't see it all. And these guys do work hard.
If I could do one of Judy's photo collages and show their activity, it would just be a blur, because you'd never they never stop. It's just they'd be blurring off the screen. But they're an incredible group of people, and we're very fortunate to have them as part of it.
Mr. Chair, may I also please? This is actually pretty indicative of the entire Parks and Recreation organization. This goes to parks maintenance. It's the professional ball fields that we manage for spring training, and the list just goes on and on. There's just a great group of people with that are truly dedicated. They're good folks.
I also wanted to say thank you to Dana Kassler, who's the Deputy Director of Parks and Recreation, came in support of this group of people. So.
Yeah, the only thing I couldn't understand is that the whole time, where you been hiding Big D? Because I didn't.
Big Z is hard to miss, but he's always out in the field working. So.
Yes. Jeff, I should say, as a mom who does this on both ends, I have a daughter who plays here and has played sports on these fields since she was 6, and now we travel all over the state and out of the state to play soccer. There is nobody who does it better than you guys, and I can say that for sure. There's no doubt. You guys set the example, and when we have to travel somewhere, I always wonder what we're going to run into, but you never worry about those things here. So thank you for all that you guys do.
So, as I was saying, Doug Muir announced yesterday for the first time in our spring training history, we're going to have an active construction zone going on during spring training this year. There's projects that are still being worked on out at Hammond Stadium, and Lee County staff, Parks and Recreation, construction design are working very closely hand in hand with the Red Sox. And the reason I mention it here is because it is to make sure that the fans and the visitors who come into our community have a seamless experience, that this construction does not affect them at all. They're going to be working hard with the Visitor and Convention Bureau and several county departments to make sure that spring training at Hammond Stadium is as amazing as it has ever been, and we're really going to be proud to showcase that facility and show people what 2015 spring training season is going to look like at that ballpark. And then certainly, last but not least, we will welcome the World Series champions to Lee County this year. We will probably see unprecedented spring training attendance because of that. Their ticket demand has been completely sold out, and so and that obviously overflows into Hammond Stadium as well. So I think that we'll see the best spring training attendance in 2014 than we've ever seen before. And finally, this month wraps up really our 5 months of real intense travel. Gary left this morning for a show. It's his second show of January, and I leave this afternoon for Philadelphia. We'll be going to Twins Fest, a group of us, to meet with the Minnesota Twins and to showcase the beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel to all of the Minnesota Twins fans. And that really is it. So, any questions?
You got tickets going on sale Saturday and media coverage today, I believe.
Yep. There's going to be a lot of positive media happening around the return of spring training this year, both with the new construction, the exciting things that are going on at Hammond Stadium, and the World Series win with the Red Sox. So it's going to be a great time.
I was just going to add, Jeff, when we go to Twins Fest this year, normally we're in the Metrodome, but this year it's going to be at Target Field. So I just want a little advance sympathy for Jeff and I in January.
And Roger.
And Roger in Minneapolis. Outside.
Yeah, the chairman was supposed to go with us, but apparently he's celebrating a birthday.
He's smarter than that.
Yeah.
Socks couldn't cover it.
Yeah.
Definitely need socks that day.
No, but our new vice chairman is going to go, right?
No, he's not able to attend.
Oh, he cannot?
No.
Okay, well, then Andrew can go.
Yeah.
After you run your bike your 100 miles.
So all those people that think our travel life is exciting, just remember that.
Yeah.
Whatever you got. Long Johns for sure.
Any other questions for Jeff? Yes, sir.
Just a quick question. Out of my mind, what do we call it? The perfect game.
Mm-hmm.
That was the lion's share of what you presented on those monthlies.
Right.
How far forward do we have commitments?
We don't have commitments going forward at all.
At all.
They are we have worked hard to lock them into longer term events. They ensure us verbally that they're committed to our area, that there's no other place that they could actually host their events, because nowhere else has this many baseball fields. I think we've had this discussion in years past. They're a very interesting group of people. They're old school guys from Iowa, and their handshake is to them as good as gold. For us, we push hard to get signed, commitments years out, and to date we haven't been able to. They always say they'll sign things, but they don't. And but they continue to. They've got a lot of people who live here, and have got a very permanent presence in our community, and they've really invested almost every one of their events in Lee County, and so.
Thank you.
Jeff, I've got one question for you. I did take the tour with the gentleman you introduced a little earlier. The lighting for the fields, is that a big thing in terms of what you do?
Yeah, the number of tournaments, the number of games we can put on baseball fields is determined on the quantity of them and how many hours a day we can play on them. So to not have lights at the Fiveplex, for instance, is what it is. But if we were able to light that facility somehow, it would be like adding a threeplex of baseball fields to our community. It would be able to add at least 2 more games per field. So that's 5 fields times so that's 10 more games a day. And so we have worked closely with Parks and Recreation and with construction design to try to identify ways to light that facility. Terry Park is lit. I don't think we'll ever get to a point where we actually light the backfields of our spring training facilities because it's not something that our spring training partners are interested in, having those fields lit. I mean, if we wanted to do it, I guess we could, but it would really benefit us a lot if we could find a way to light the Fiveplex, though.
Roger, is that something that a line item that would occur with this group or with general funding?
Commissioner, I'm not sure. We'd have to discuss the benefits to the tourism industry as well as the benefits to Lee County General Fund as well. It could be some combination, perhaps.
That might be a subject we want to take up with this group, depending on the
Sure.
answer to that.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Jeff, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, from Natural Resources, I'd like to invite Justin McBride up. Good morning, Justin.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me. My name is Justin McBride. I'm a Coastal Project Manager for Lee County Division of Natural Resources, and I'm going to give you a presentation that I gave to the Coastal Advisory Committee. Tamara saw it and asked me to bring it here. It's a presentation of some of the beach projects that have been completed recently in the county, and it's one thing to sit in here and approve dollars to go towards it, but I think you're going to see some pretty dramatic images that really show the monumental changes that the decisions that you make have on our coastline. I'm going to talk about 2 projects, the Captiva project and the Gasparilla project. They were both completed around the first of the year. For Captiva, you guys put towards $6.1 million of bed tax towards it. The rest was picked up by the federal government. No, Captiva was partially county bed tax, and then CEPD put in the lion's share. Gasparilla was a split between federal and state money, and then $1.3 million in bed tax. Lovers Key and Bonita Beach are upcoming. I hope to bring back pictures for those 2 projects when they're completed. First, I'll start with Captiva. This is a picture looking from the south to the north. The contractor started at the north end and worked south. You can see where the original beach is there at the south, and then they're adding between 200 and 300 feet there. Their pipe is stretched out. The Captiva project, their borrow site was about 11 miles offshore, so they had 2 hopper dredges. These are very large vessels that go out to the borrow site, dig up the material, then they bring it in, and it gets pumped on the beach. This is a classic shot of what a perfect dump site looks like, with the berms containing the fines so you don't get silt in the water, but the sand fills out the beach. That's the pump area. That's where the 2 large dredges would come in, hook up to that, and then it gets pumped to the beach. That's the booster pump. Great Lakes was the company that completed both these projects. They're, I think, the largest company in the Northern Hemisphere as far as dredging goes. These are progressive shots. These are taken on the 21st of November. You can see they keep their staging area very close so there's minimal impact to the beach. And they keep moving south. That's about 2,000 feet south from the original picture I showed you. Now this day, right after Thanksgiving, we had a very high tide and very, very strong west winds. So it's an illustration of the protection that the beach gives to the structures upland. You can see those waves, the difference between where the water is there and where the water is crashing here. And it's that similar all the way up the beach. You can see that it was just a very rough day out there. Now this is Gasparilla. On this project, they started at the south and worked towards the north. Right here, we're right about, I think we're hanging right above the lighthouse. This was a larger dredge. It was the Dredge California. It was stationary right in the ebb shoal, and it swung back and forth. I'll show you a picture of that in a moment. This crew moved about 1,000, between 800 and 1,000 feet a day. They really moved. That's the Dredge California. It's a large swing dredge that anchors and has a cutter head and just moves back and forth, kind of like a snowblower almost. And if you can see that dark outline there, that is the material that they've removed. So they're just digging right out of there, and it's perfect in their in the template that they were supposed to remove out of. Again, working north to there. This is a shot looking from the north to the south. This is from the south looking north. Just the progression of the project. You can see it's adding quite a bit of beach. This is that very rough day again. You can see the waves crashing, how they're up to the pipeline in some areas. And there, the very south end of the island, you can see the Belcher Road area that I know Chad is going to talk about in a moment. And that was the booster pump out there. You can see the kind of the waves that were breaking over it. I wouldn't want to be on that boat that day. Now those aerials are fairly dramatic, but these are going to really show you the difference. This is a station on Gasparilla. This was taken just a couple days after Tropical Storm Debbie. This is a shot looking north. You can see there's maybe 8 to 10 feet of beach. Looking south, about the same. And these were taken 2 days ago. That's 300 plus. So that's the level of protection and what beach renourishment projects give to the county. And that is a shot that's almost exactly the same spot. And then this shot is a little bit further south, but looking towards the north. So you're seeing basically the same thing. And that's it. Any questions?
On average, how long do you get between these? I know that's hard to say because of storms and things like that.
Yeah. If there's a storm event, they will come sooner. But each project is on a specific cycle per permitting. Gasparilla is every 8 years. Captiva, I believe, is every 7. So there's a set schedule by the permit regulations. But Gasparilla was done a couple years ahead of time because of Tropical Storm Debbie.
Also, too, did you mention, did you say there was federal funding for Captiva?
No, there was not.
There was state funding.
State funding,
but not
yes.
federal funding.
Correct. Correct.
And also, I just want to compliment the dredge company or whatever, because they did a great job, and not only that, there were pipes like in front of our property on Sanibel on, I think, the 23rd or 4th, and then they were gone.
Yes.
By Christmas. So they did a great job in terms of working with us in front of Twin Water.
Yeah, I've heard no complaints from the contractor about the contractors. They were top notch.
And also from Sanibel's point of view, certainly want to compliment you for what you did, because obviously it was a coordination, and disruptive as it might have been, it really worked out to be a great situation.
Yeah, I think everybody's very pleased. Thank you.
Well done.
Any other comments or questions? Justin, I met up in, where were we in? Port
Venice?
Venice, yeah, for WCIND. Which,
correct.
Justin also helps represent us with all the other counties as well. And appreciate your effort there as well.
Thank you.
And I know you talk about regionalism. When you start talking about what's happening to our beaches, it's all the way up and down the coast. And
absolutely.
It's nice to know that you're learning from other municipalities and towns how they're doing things and sharing our knowledge too. But we appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Okay. Next, I guess, is old business. Do we have any old business from anyone? I would like to just bring up, appreciate the work that VCB did bringing this meeting to Fort Myers Beach last month, and I think everybody had an okay time. But you know, one of the things that we need to do is think about where do we want to go next, and I think that the objective was maybe every 4 months look for another place to go on the road, and I'd like to hear from you folks. Is that something you think that is something we need to continue to do, or?
Oh, Paris. Paris
Would be good. Paris, Texas.
Will say I do like the Thursday though. Thursday to me it seems like it's working out better.
And you like the Thursdays better?
Days are working out pretty good.
Okay, well, everybody's happy then.
Actually, in all truth, I think it was kind of nice to get out, especially in December around Christmas time. little function that you threw afterwards, I think everybody really enjoyed that. So
It seemed like a good time was happening.
I know it's a pain to move everything and operate out of your normal site, but
Let's wait till the traffic slows down.
Well, I was going to add, we're looking at an alternative site for March. We're hoping to take you out to Buckingham Farms, which we had our volunteer luncheon out at Buckingham Farms. It was a great experience. Have a big open air pavilion, and I think while the weather's nice, we might want to get out there, and I think that's the right way to go traffic-wise, rather than trying to go to one of our coastal locations. But we're looking at Buckingham Farms in March, and we'll certainly get more details out, but we really liked the response we got from the public going on the road. I definitely enjoyed, I think everyone enjoyed the event afterwards. Real positive response. You know, if you'll remember, we carried extra chairs into the room that day. I think we had the room set for 60, and we brought in about 20 extra chairs, so that means it was very well attended. I think more people were there than are here today, not to comment on how many people are here. The only negative about that for us from a operation standpoint is, of course, when we're here in this room, typically we can broadcast the meetings out, and of course, you know, on the road we aren't able to do that. But I think the benefit of you know, exposing ourselves and getting some new faces at these meetings are really important. So thank you, Commissioner Kiker, for the excellent suggestion. I think it was really great, and staff really felt appreciated and enjoyed that opportunity.
It was a lot of fun. Okay, is there anything else, any other old business anybody would like to discuss? Okay, well, new business, and if I may, can I turn it back over to you?
Sure. Ask Nancy McPhee to come forward. It's that time when we need to do our events marketing subcommittee, and thankfully Pam came back into the room, because this is typically I was worried there for a second, because you know, Pam, you know what happens when you're out of the room, though it may happen with you in the room. You know, Pam has historically chaired this. Nancy, I'll turn it over to you.
So your first action that we're going to ask for this year is to approve a subcommittee, because we're actually going to be talking about fiscal year 14-15 event funding. So this will enable me to work with that subcommittee on refining guidelines, as well as setting a date for the actual review of the projects. We're going to open the cycle to events marketing requests in early April. So today we ask that you nominate 5 individuals is what we've had in the past, and I can review who's done it in the past. Pamela, you've always chaired the committee. Renee, Colleen, and Kevin have been on the committee as of last fiscal year. So you can appoint new, you can recommend the same people. We were hoping for 5. Roxy, as you remember, was the 5th last year.
Anybody interested in serving?
I'll nominate Pamela to chair.
Okay.
I'll second that nomination.
Okay. What about some committee members?
Is everybody currently serving, willing to continue to serve?
And then you said we need one addition?
It's nice to have 5 in the event of
Pam, Renee, Kevin, Colleen.
I will volunteer.
Yep, great.
Okay, so the next step is we will contact each of you to find out availability. Typically, the committee meets in the end of May.
So
and
could you read through the names, and then let's do a motion?
Sure.
Okay, so the chair will be Pamela, and then we have Renee, Colleen, Kevin, and Joe on the subcommittee.
Move that item.
Okay, we got in a second. Is there any objections? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We also have had a emergency funding request from Gasparilla Island State Park. This relates to the, you heard a guest speaker here this morning already mention the Belcher Road seawall. Chad Latch from Gasparilla Island State Park is here to speak to you about this request. They did come to the Coastal Advisory Council. We provided you with a draft copy of those minutes. Of course, the committee has not had the opportunity to meet again to approve those minutes. That's why they are a draft. The committee recommended funding the project. Chad, am I getting the number right? This is late night flight. Was it $250,000 was the subcommittee's recommendation?
That is correct.
Okay, so just so you know what the status is, the committee said as long as Chad could prove to us that it was an emergency project, met all the criteria for emergency funding, then they would recommend $250,000. I will tell you, in terms of our reserve funding, this would be funded from reserves, beach and shoreline reserves. The current balance on the beach and shoreline reserves is about $5.8 million. $2.5 million of that we hold in the emergency fund. I call that the hurricane fund, and I like to not touch that. I like to leave that $2.5 million in place. It isn't enough if anything happened, let's be honest, but at least we have something there so that we could get started. So that would leave $3.3 million uncommitted, so there are funds available should you choose to do this, but I just wanted to give you an update on where the funds were. So with that, unless anybody has any questions for me, I'll let Chad present.
I was just going to ask before and Andre is okay with this?
He has
proper
prior to it going to Coastal Advisory. No? Yes. Hanson? Andrew? Ah, okay.
Well, then she's going to be paying particular
She'll
attention.
She'll pay particular attention. We'll let Chad tell you about the project. My apology, Andrew.
Well, hello. Thank you for hearing me today. My name's Chad Locke. I'm the park manager of Gasparilla Island State Park. I'm here today to request the funds for a little project that we got going on out there that's in some need of attention. We're requesting $250,000 in funds for the Belcher Road seawall repairs. This has also been recommended and approved by the Lee County Coastal Advisory Committee on December 9th of 2013. We do understand that this is a 50-50 match, and we would match that amount. Here you can see the seawall. This photo is back in May of this year, or last year of 2013. This area serves as a public corridor from the public beaches from the south to the north. This seawall also helps protect the beaches to the south, which includes the Port Boca Grande Lighthouse and Museum, as well as two of the restrooms that we have out there that were partially funded by the TDC in years past. One of the criteria is, after Tropical Storm Debbie, we had to make sure that this area of the beach was considered a disaster area and eligible for federal assistance. That area of the park was, along with 30 other counties in Florida. Also, this area of the beach is considered critically eroded from the report in January of 2012, I believe. The entire south end of Gasparilla Island is considered critically eroded. This is the original design back in 2006 of the fix for that area. As you can see, the red line represents of where the sand should be placed. And after this design was done, in 2006, the sand was placed. And here you can still see the pipeline from the dredging operation that's on the beach. And there's a significant amount of sand on that beach. And that photo was from 2007. Here in 2008, you can still see there's a significant amount of sand in front of the seawall there. The most recent dredge took place this past November and December. However, there was no sand put in front of the seawall due to permitting issues. Originally, the dredge that took place would have happened in November, December timeframe of 2014. This area here needed an additional permit. we were not unable to obtain that permit due to the government shutdown. The dredge that just recently took place was more of an emergency dredge from Tropical Storm Debbie. So the time frame, the way everything happened, there wasn't enough time to get the permit to go ahead and get the sand placed in front of there. One of the things that, you know, I always make sure that I do is go to the state first and say, hey, this is the project, this is what's going on, I need some funds for this. However, I've gone to the state, we don't have the funds at this time to do the project. There are no funds available prior to the next hurricane season. I've requested the funds through the chain of command. Unfortunately, they're just not available at this time. That's why I'm here today seeking your help. Thus far, what we've done, the state has spent $280,656, and with local support of GICIA and their contributions of just over $9,000, we've done the design, permitting, and construction of a seawall cap, which is currently taking place right now. This cap is roughly anywhere between 6 inches to 1.5 feet higher than what the initial wall was. During that design and permitting phase, we went ahead and designed to have riprap or an anchoring system out in front of that wall. This is what the complete design will look like with the anchoring system out in front of the wall. We only anticipated doing the cap at this time and then doing the riprap portion later, thinking that we were going to have sand in front of the wall, which would give us several years to get the funds to put the riprap out in front of it. Again, we weren't able to do that. You can see here the red line represents the erosion control line. All the work that we're asking to be done with these funds would be done seaward of that line, which is some of the requirements for the funding. And that, you know, that's it. You know, we're down there. We have little under 800,000 visitors that come to our park. As Mr. Sterling said earlier today, you know, that's a $35 million impact just on that island alone. And anything that we can do to help preserve that south end of the island would be appreciated.
So, Chad, just to clarify before they ask any questions, basically these funds are going to help you place the riprap in front of the wall. It is an emergency measure, or emergency erosion control measure.
Through the studies that have been done, if that wall were to fail, and at the time it was looking at any kind of significant storm, that wall could fail. It would fall seaward. All the sand behind that wall would go into the Gulf, and then it would cut all the way over to where the lighthouse is, and the entire south end of the island would then be in the Gulf.
In essence, jeopardizing the lighthouse and two restroom projects you funded
in previous years.
In previous years, but I think you misspoke and said restaurant, and I think everybody was like, the TDC funded restaurants, restroom projects. There, you know, we put a restroom there at the lighthouse, if you'll remember. So, I think it's important that you know that you're protecting some of those assets you've already paid for.
And the next scheduled dredge won't be until 2022. So, I mean, we would be going another 8 years of being exposed. Yes, sir.
Obviously, it's tragic that we were not able to get the dredging done properly, or you wouldn't have been in this predicament in the first place. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Would it also, the public access from the south end, then moving north on the beach? I'm assuming that would be somewhat interrupted if this seawall were to go down. You would essentially have to go inland, then go north, and then come back to the beach again. So you would essentially be isolated to just what would be south of the seawall. if you didn't have a catastrophic situation where you lost 2 restrooms and lost them.
That is correct.
So essentially, what you know could happen would be that it would make access north to south along that beach very difficult.
You would go so far, go inland, go down, go back out.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
See, it looks like you capped the existing wall. That's correct, the picture I see?
We have taken the bad portions of the wall, cut down deep, 4, 5, 6, one section is 8 foot deep, reformed the entire wall and raised it. Before it was kind of an up and down wall as it went. Now it's a perfectly straight level, and it's anywhere between 6 inches and 1.5 feet higher than what it previously was.
I look at the picture immediately after that. It says wall repair design, conceptual drawing. That is the actual wall that's been finished now. I'm looking at the picture.
The very last slide that I had on
Oh, it's the
there.
one right after it shows the construction of the seawall.
This one?
That one there, yeah.
This
Explain.
is what the wall essentially will look like when it is complete, with the riprap in front of it.
Okay,
now,
so
come 2022, when sand is put in front of it, it'll be beach out in front of it.
okay,
You won't
so
see the riprap.
that line that I see is both the wall and the riprap.
That is correct.
Wall is already done.
The wall, we are just a week or 2 away from, we have to
Finish
do
it.
the final pour, and then we have to do some backfilling on it, and then
Backside, but
on the
this
backside.
riprap is all for seaward.
This is all seaward. Yes, sir.
$250,000 match from the state. Is that going toward the riprap, or was that going to the seawall you've already done?
That was going towards the seawall that we've already done.
Basically, what you're requesting from us is funds for the riprap.
This will fund a portion of the riprap. This will get the most critical. Does this have a
Yeah, I
laser
think,
pointer on
I
it?
think it does. Oops.
Oh, I just turned something off, didn't I?
Maybe somebody can help him. It does have a pointer, I think, on one end. Maybe I'm wrong.
Anyone know how to push the pointer? I'm sorry. That's okay. The green button. Right there is the most critical area. This riprap will cover like roughly from here down to here. This is the most critical area. When we get our storms, the most impact is on this corner. This is where the contractor recently spent almost 2 weeks of work just doing a 20-foot section to reinforce that as much as possible. These funds will go to do this portion here, and as we get into our next funding cycle, I've already requested additional funds. We will then go back and do the remaining portions.
I think the riprap itself, and Chad, I don't want to speak for you, but since I was listening in the Coastal Advisory Council meeting, I have that advantage. It's about $500,000 project to put the riprap in place. And the hope is, both from the residents and the leaders there at the park, that they can pressure the state to say, hey, look, we got $250,000 from the TDC. Step up, fund the other $250,000 so that we don't lose the seawall.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Have you managed to raise any money locally on the island for the project?
The only funding we have received so far has been from GICIA, and that was just over $9,000. Again, if this was funded, I would seek out additional funds, whether it be through the state, through other organizations.
Could be that the actual project is bigger in scope than the $500,000 that you have that you would.
Well, if you want to include what we've already done so far, which is the $280,000 worth, plus $500,000 to do the stone, the riprap out in front, yes, you'd be looking at, say, $750,000.
I guess I just don't know, where did you raise, if the state was doing $250 for the matching, and then you
Yes.
had $250 in emergency funding from this council, and you had $9,000. raise some money from the state prior to this that you're using, or request some money that was used? Because you've got 280,000 that you're already currently working with.
Correct. And that, we've gotten some money from that from this past year's funding cycle. We are now, I have to wait until June to seek any money for next fiscal's year, and at that time we're already in hurricane season. Then you go through the bidding process and everything else. It's next November. We've already gone through another hurricane season, and there's no guarantee, you know, that those funds will be there. So if we got these funds now, I do have a contractor on site. I will work with my folks up in Tallahassee to see if we can just tack on to the existing project to get this riprap put in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That is a private community part of Boca Bay. But if I may, this area all through here is all state lands. That's all our property.
Yes, sir.
I think we probably all agree there is an emergency need. At the public beach, you got 800,000 visitors coming in there. We've had a state match. Proviso that Andrea bless it to make sure it's a legal expenditure of TDC money.
After doing some quick research, looking at the Attorney General website, specifically this is authorized expenditure for erosion control. It is in the statute and it is provided, so it is an authorized expenditure.
So is there any other comments or discussion?
Question, because I don't know the historical balance of that. I don't know how high number, low number, average.
Well, we just finished a couple of big beach renourishment projects and understand that, you know, so there have been times when that number was much larger, but we just showed you about, I can't remember what that number was about $7 million, Justin? So it's a little lower than it has been, but, you know, it's a healthy balance. 5 million, you know, 5.8 million is a healthy balance.
Replenished quickly?
As long as we keep doing what we're doing, it's going to replenish very quickly.
Only if you work harder, Joe.
I mean, you know, Joe, my always concern, you know, when we talk about the beach renourishment and those reserves is what if we have some sort of natural disaster? And that's why we try to protect those funds and not spend every single dime of them so that we do have some extra. But I mean, at the end of the day, you're going from 5.3 to $5 million, $250,000 towards this project. You're in good shape.
Okay, any other discussion or comments? Any objections? Motion carries.
Thank you, folks. I appreciate it.
Okay, Tammy, we have any council information?
There's a few things in your packet there, and I think just, you know, out of courtesy to Kristen, it's really nice to mention. There's a copy in your packet, but there's also, I have one here. Kristen Marshall from Sunstream Hotels and Resorts was named in the collaborative meetings, recognized for her work and her accomplishments. It's nice to be able to see one of our hospitality members getting recognized in that way. So again, there's a copy in your packet just for your information.
With that, Pamela, we always start with you. Do you have any items that you'd like to share?
Well, the only thing I can say is thanks to the BCB staff for making it a great summer on into a wonderful fall, and our Christmas season was excellent, and I'm looking forward to a fantastic 2014. So thank you for all your hard work. We really appreciate it. And
Thank you. Joe, oh, sure.
Gumbo Fest. I'm sorry. Duh. Gumbo Fest, our big fundraiser for our Nature Park Environmental Education Foundation, is the 26th of this month. So come to Gumbo. Listen to excitable music. Good time at the show house.
Joe, you got to follow that.
I can't.
You know what? There's no way.
That's not possible. So, no, we're looking forward to a great 14, and I will try and send you more money.
Thank you, Joe. Not me, us.
Collectively, correct. But 13 did turn out to be a great year, and 14 is looking even better. Sports year, I know, so very, very excited about the summer.
Well, now that you're on the subcommittee, you're sitting next to two folks here that you just made a financial obligation. They'll hold you to it, Joe.
Oh, was this working? I'm sorry.
Mayor, how about you?
All, Happy New Year to all, and look forward to 14. Absolutely.
Renee,
All good, thank you.
how about you?
I want to add that next month for our February TDC meeting, at the same time we're meeting, the South Florida Water Management District is going to be meeting next door. So it is a tiny bit of a conflict, and they need to broadcast that meeting. That was part of the deal for them to come and hold their meeting here in Lake County. So we won't be broadcasting the TDC meeting next month. We'll also probably, with discretion from the chairman, I'll talk to him about keeping it light, so perhaps you can walk over next door and participate in that and let them know how important their decisions are to our livelihood here. So we'll see what we can do to make that happen.
Andrew?
Happy New Year. Thank you.
But the nominations are due this month in January. Categories or nomination forms are on the table.
Thank you. Rob?
Happy New Year, everybody. Hope it's starting out great.
Tony?
2014 is upon us, and taxes and season come along, so I just want to remind people in the industry that United Way has the VITA program, which is a free tax service for your employees if they are combined income, I think, of less than $55,000. So it's a great service that United Way provides, not just to hospitality employees, but any employees. And with that, we have our annual campaign that I think closes up in about 6 weeks. So if you having an employee campaign, congratulations. If you aren't, think about doing one. We'd love to get you started with that. So it's a good program. It's one of the many services, but this one is very usable for everybody in this county.
And with that, you know, for Lee County, we appreciate the leadership of this group, and it's certainly been my pleasure to serve with you this last year, and I'm looking forward to this year, as well as working with Roger. You know, we're scripting a way to speak about our future and where Lee County's going. And I heard you did a real nice job at Tiger Bay yesterday, but Pam says you did. And so it's official. And but with that, you know, we really appreciate everything that everybody's doing and the hard work and the financial commitment that Joe just made. So with that, meeting adjourned.
Good.